I'm going to be honest with you, I no longer know how to rank these Monday Night Raws and SmackDowns because they're doing some things right, and then sometimes they just do things that just make my head scratch. I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you have Obafemi beat up a bunch of cops? Oh, but then later they fix it. They're like, oh no, those weren't cops, but they don't explain how Obafemi knew they weren't cops. He was just like, yeah, I had a feeling. You had a feeling? What if your feeling was wrong? And that said, okay, fine, he had a feeling, his feeling was right. Well, then Paul Heyman should be in trouble because he hired 4 to 5 guys to impersonate police officers. That's also a crime. Or what about at the end of this segment, we have a good face-off between Roman and Seth. Yeah, we've done it a bunch already with Roman and CM Punk, and now we're doing it with Seth and Roman. Fine, they have a history, but then it comes down to where they're fighting each other. Nobody goes through a table. They're fighting each other, and Seth is literally screaming in Roman's ears, "Where's your bloodline now? Where's your bloodline now?" And it's like, well, where is the bloodline? Like, that's what I'm talking about, the inconsistent storytelling here. If Roman would have said at some point in this promo, no matter what happens, bloodline, I want you to stay back there. This is between me and my little brother Seth, then fine. Everything would have been okay. But they never said that. Therefore, Roman's getting beat up and nobody comes and helps him. Seth Rollins even acknowledges that, where's your bloodline? And nobody comes and helps him. That doesn't make sense. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too. You can't have the bloodline reform and then not have the bloodline act like the bloodline and try to protect Roman Reigns. Heck, Jacob came out and protected Jimmy earlier in the night, but they're not going to come out and protect Roman. Give me a break here. Give me a break. Let's just go over this entire Raw from beginning to end. Like I said, there are some things that I really liked about this Raw and WWE in general, but then it's like they just fumble it at the last second. It's the devil is in the details, people. You gotta, pay attention. Pay attention to the details, Triple H. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Pick. Do you want your cake or do you want to eat your cake? One or the other. So we start off with Brock Lesnar. He comes out with Paul Heyman, and they're like, Brock is now obsessed with you. And Paul Heyman did acknowledge that Obafemi, this guy's acting like a grade A stalker, an ex-girlfriend. He gave up a title shot. He gave up a title shot to get at Brock. How crazy is that? And you know what? That is pretty crazy, to tell you the truth, but they will try to explain it with Oba saying, you would have just attacked me anyways. And at least they acknowledged it. At least they had Obafemi acknowledge it. And I'll say this, though. Even though Oba's not going for a title, you can. You, the viewer, can win this title on my shoulder. You see, I'm giving it away at 30,000 subscribers on my quest to quit my day job. I'm being for real here. I'm going to give this belt away. Free shipping, free everything, anywhere in the world. Just all you got to do to win. Comment below and subscribe to the channel and you can win. People, it's not a toy. It's a replica, and it can be yours. So, yes, we have Paul Heyman. He's talking smack. He has police officers come out with them. He says, I got a restraining order against Obafemi. And these are officers. These are Dallas officers. Can't come at me. Obafemi just comes out. He doesn't care. And Brock and Paul, they try to run away. The cops go at him, and he just beats up all the cops. At this point, I'm like, this is dumb. We cannot beat up police officers. We have to keep it within the realm of reality, all right? I get it. Wrestling scripted, but you don't got to shove it in our face. So I'm kind of out of it right now because I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like that he just beat up officers. Now, if he wants to beat up officers and get arrested, like when Stone Cold Steve Austin got arrested and he's talking smack, that was an iconic scene. You can do that, but you got to get arrested. They will retcon this later, or they'll explain it later. So don't worry. Don't get out of the moment right now. It turns out that these police officers aren't really police officers. That said, Oba cut a great promo. He cut maybe his best promo yet, because he's like, what happened to you, Brock? This is not the Brock that I want. You're running away, you're dodging me, you have police officers now. This is not the beast. So Oba cut the best promo he's cut so far. So I will grant them that. I just wish that these wouldn't have been police officers to take me out of the moment. If they had just been security guards, hired goons, heck, they could have even been NXT guys. I don't care, or people from Evolve. Like, these are wrestlers that are on the up and up, and Oba just takes them out. That would have been a lot better. But I did like the promo, and that was that for right then. Then we have a match between Io Sky and Roxanne Perez. We have Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan out. They're going to call a show. Why doesn't the ref just get rid of them right away? If the ref is allowed to get rid of them at any point, they should be able to. Last I checked, Liv and Raquel don't have manager licenses, so they don't have like a right per their contracts to be out there. So we should just kick them out regardless, or explain why we don't. Anyways, because it's like two people. It's one thing to have one of your buds out there, but two, give me a break. So anyways, Roxanne, Io Sky. Io Sky is selling her knee, so that is going to be the story at SummerSlam. And this was a good match. You kind of forget sometimes that Roxanne Perez was a very formidable champion in NXT because of all the losses she usually takes. But great match here. We will have Io Sky get the roll-up victory. Now, there will be shenanigans involved. Sol Ruca comes out, and at first they do kind of mop the floor with the Judgment Day, but then they make the comeback. And Raquel Rodriguez will slam Sol Ruca into the ring post, kind of take her out of the equation, and then they jump Io Sky. This was a vicious attack by Liv Morgan. I don't know why it looked more vicious tonight than usual, but it did. And I really liked that. I liked the energy that the Judgment Day had tonight because it just made it seem, it seemed a little more urgent, a little more pressing, the attack that they did on Io and Sol Ruca. So, but at the end of the day, it was the same thing they did last week. So is that what we're going to do? I'm sure next week, Io will probably get her comeuppance, and then we'll just have Io get beat up until SummerSlam, until she wins the belt. Is that what we're doing here? Just Io pretty much gets beat up? All right, so that was that. While I'm looking up what happened next, we have, there will be Bayley and Lyra at Saturday night's main event. I will do a prediction video on Wednesday, but I like Lyra now. I like this Lyra. So Bayley comes out, she's like, I want to talk to my friend, and Lyra comes out. She looks dirty. She looks dirty right now, but this was the most entertaining she's honestly been, in my opinion. She still has her old music. I think they need to change it because it still has that woo woo or something like that. We need to change her music to match her look. It's fine the first time, but Saturday's main event, she definitely needs new music. And she kind of says, now I know why everybody, all your friends betray you. You're just such a victim. And Bayley tries to list off her accomplishments to justify that, she is who she says she is. And Lyra says, you're the worst of the four horsewomen. So it's, ooh. And basically they beat each other up, and I think Lyra stood tall here, but it was a fine segment. There was nothing wrong with it, and I like Lyra's new direction. I really do like Lyra's new direction. We got to back it up a little, though. The segment of the night was not Roman and Seth. It was actually The Vision, kind of. I don't even know if I should call them Division. I wish they would just change their name, honestly. So I'm going to say this. I'm of two minds here. First, for the Vision itself and the tag team division and Otis and Maxxine, this is a great storyline. All right? Maybe not for the Vision as from what they were, but for Bron Breakker, oh, it sucks. It sucks. All right? Bron Breakker is looking like, I don't remember somebody who was fallen this hard in a long time from, like, oh my God, this is the future. Maybe like Drew McIntyre's original Chosen One run, because this dude is just falling so freaking hard. Maybe Ryback, like how he was like right positioned in the main event and then fell down the card so hard. So I'm just going to say that. For Bron Breakker, this absolutely sucks. This feud sucks for Bron Breakker because he has so much more potential. That said, as a segment, forgetting the Bron Breakker element of where he should be on the card, it was a good segment. And it started off a little awkward. We have the Vision come out with Logan Paul, Austin Theory, his girlfriend now, on-screen girlfriend, Maxxine Dupri, and Bron Breakker. They come out. There was some kind of miscommunication, and it starts off very, very awkward. Then we have Tozawa and Otis come out. And again, little awkward. We have Maxxine saying, why don't you guys leave the ring? And then it does find its footing. It finds its groove, and we're off to the races. Eventually, we get to the point where it seems like Otis is about to profess his love for Maxxine, after Tozawa was like, this isn't you. These are bad people. While on the outside, they're all kind of laughing at Tozawa and Otis. It very much gave off like jocks versus nerds, like 1980s feel. And I'm not even saying that as a bad. I think it just gave off that, the cool kids picking on the nerds. And the ugly girl somehow managed to get in with the cool kids, and she's going to prom with them suddenly, and she has to pick between her cool friends and her nerd friends. She likes reading books, but she'd rather hang out with the football team on Friday nights. And it gave off that vibe, and that's not a bad thing. So then we get to Tozawa, or Austin Theory comes in, and he's like, I can't, look at you, you're ugly. The crowd is only booing me because they're ugly too and fat, which is fine. And we get to, a fight. Otis beats up Austin Theory a little bit, and he beats up Bron Breakker a little bit, and then he goes to Maxxine. I got something to tell you. It looks like he's about to profess his love. Maxine's going in for a kiss with Otis, and then low blow on Otis, and he proceeds to get beat up. Bron Breakker does his spear, because that's all Bron Breakker is. He's just a spear at this point. And that's that. So the tag team division has a really good storyline, even though Otis Tozawa is a jobber team, and the Vision was once a top dog player in the whole WWE. At least the tag team titles have something. And there's a lot of heat on this. The crowd was really firmly behind Otis. Man, I don't know why we don't do more with Otis, because there have been multiple times in Otis's career where the crowd just for whatever reason wants to get behind Otis. When he was with Mandy Rose, when Chad Gable was abusing him, and now when Maxxine Dupri has turned on him. Like, the crowd firmly gets behind Otis. And even Tozawa, I remember when Tozawa was like, wasn't he in a gauntlet match where he was like, it looked like they were about to win, like a fatal 4-way? The crowd firmly got behind him. Like, we should do something with these guys. We really should. The crowd wants a reason to cheer them, for real. And, but yeah, so that looks to be our SummerSlam match. And Maxxine Dupri fully embraced her heel side. She started saying, look at you. Why would I ever be with you? So Maxxine is pure evil now. She's pure evil. And she looks like to be their valet or manager, because they will go up to Paul Heyman later and they'll be like, how about that? And Paul Heyman was like, I'm impressed. Braun, you showed who you were. Logan, you're going to be healed. Austin Theory, you didn't fumble the bag. And Maxxine, great job. And they're like, so you're back with us? Why would I be back with you when you've got Maxxine? And then he just walked away. So it looks like Paul Heyman escapes the Vision without being injured. And I wish they would just change their name to something else. I hope next week they change their name to something else. And I hope Bron Breakker gets away from them as well. Maxxine Dupri, Austin Theory, Logan Paul, keep them together. Let Bron Breakker go to SmackDown and start a whole new career. Please. Because this ain't it. But it was good. Segment, it was good. What they did to Braun, not so good. We have, during one commercial break, we come back and it's just Jimmy versus Royce Keys. So that was kind of cool that we just jumped right into it, even though Royce Keys is a SmackDown guy, even though Gunther and CM Punk have to negotiate contracts to just get onto SmackDown. Royce Keys can just show up to Raw. Jacob Fatu can just show up to Raw. So Solo Sikoa can just show up to Raw. Jimmy can just show up to SmackDown. You get my point. Anyways, they're fighting. Jacob drives in, he sees the fight, he goes to the ring, and then he starts beating up. Then he beats up Royce, gonna do like the butt bomb into a chair, into Roy's keys in the corner. Solo says, no, don't do this. I recognize now that I gotta join the family. And then Jimmy's like, all right. So they line up. Solo does the ones in the sky, but then his one turns into a thumb, and then Solo spikes Jimmy. Then Jacob beats him up, or they get into a fight. Solo's a babyface now, thank God, even though the bloodline, like, are they babyface? Are they heels? Like, I don't know. Sometimes they're babyfaces, sometimes they're heels. And so we do the spike, and then they're fighting. They get the upper hand. Then LA Knight, comes out with the chair. He beats them up, and then LA Knight says, us three versus you two and your brother. Unfortunate event, Jey Uso. Finally, someone mentioned that Jey Uso isn't around. It's just like, they just need to say something. I let Jey Uso lost, so I sent him home. He didn't win the tournament. I sent him home for 3 weeks as punishment. All we gotta do is say one or two things. So now they found a place for LA Knight. Like, it's like they can't keep LA Knight off the big pay-per-views because he's too popular, but they also don't want to push him. So Triple H has finally figured out where he likes LA Knight, and that's in 6-man tags on big pay-per-views, PLEs. And so, Solo Sikoa is a babyface, though. Very excited about that. He's a very, very charismatic. I think he could go pretty far. I really enjoy him. Then that's when Obafemi and Adam Pearce, they kind of came together, and that's when Adam was like, I know you don't really care, but those were phony cops, and that's a phony restraining order. And Obafemi's like, oh, okay. Again, either I wish Oba would have said something like, "Oh, I knew they were phony." One of my friends works with like that guy. He's an indie wrestler. Just say something like that. We know they're indie wrestlers now, so just say something like that. Oba is smart. He has buddies out there. Just explain how he knew. That said, again, I am glad they weren't real, because I would have just Oba should have been arrested then. Now, though, Paul Heyman needs to have some charges pressed up against him because he got people to impersonate police officers. And those guys need to be arrested too for that, because that is a crime. You're just nitpicking, Chop. Yeah, you know what? I wish Triple H would nitpick his stories a little more. I really do. There's at least 7 people on Triple H's writing staff. How am I the one that can nitpick and he doesn't have 7? Have one of those guys literally be a script doctor. That's what Hollywood does. Hollywood literally has a script doctor to make sure everything's consistent. Use one of those 7 guys to just be a script doctor, Triple H. We do have a gauntlet match where it's Joe Hendry versus Dom. Dom beats Joe Hendry. Interesting choice. And then Dom loses to not JD. He will lose to bouncy Javon Evans. Now, JD did help Joe Hendry lose. And then at one point, we have Dirty Dom on the turnbuckle. Danhausen comes out, does "You Are Cursed." The wrong turnbuckle goes off. They tried to play it off, but I do really think that the wrong turnbuckle went off, or Dom was in the wrong position, because it didn't play into anything other than he got a little distracted, then he got a little awkward, and Javon does his OG cutter. Javon thought really good on his feet and got him, but then Michael Cole was like, the curse, it's still undefeated. It's like, the curse didn't happen. He was just distracted a little. Because the turnbuckle thing, the fireworks in the turnbuckle got the wrong one, it didn't go off. It was just a malfunction, or they get the wrong one, whatever. It's not a big deal. It just, whatever. JD does chase Danhausen up the ramp. We see Danhausen aim his shirt cannon at JD, and then we don't see them again. They're just gone. So there's a lot of production errors right here during this part of the match. Then Javon wins. We have Dragon Lee come, And I'm going to tell you something. Javon, I believe, can be a heel. There was one point in the match where Javon got this look on his face. He did like a hip toss that looked very vicious. I never thought I'd be like, wow, that hip toss was vicious. But he did a vicious hip toss on Dragon Lee. And then he got this look on his face and I was like, whoa. There is a heel somewhere deep inside Javon Evans. I thought this guy was going to be a Rey Mysterio where he couldn't turn him heel, but there is a heel deep down. I'm not saying turn him heel. I'm just saying I'm looking forward to the day when he does try being a heel. Maybe in 2 or 3 years, but like I saw it tonight. There was just like for 5 seconds I saw his facial expression. He's great though. He wins. He goes into with Rusev, put up a great showing against Rusev, but Rusev ultimately win. Even after Rusev did attack him from behind, and Javon really powered through. There's one point where they had Javon like get up from an accolade and drop on his back, which I was surprised because they don't usually let the high flyers do power things, and it is the way that he powered out of Rusev. Yeah, usually high flyers aren't able to do that. He will beat Rusev. No, wait, will he beat Rusev? No, he doesn't beat Rusev. Rusev eventually beats him. Then Chad Gable comes out. Chad Gable will beat him. He'll attack Chad after the match, but Ethan Page comes out and Chad still wins. We cut somewhere. We come back. Penta's in the ring. They do the handshake. So now we have Penta and Chad Gable shaking hands, and we have CM Punk and Cody Rhodes shaking hands. Yay, this is the modern feud. Let's shake hands. Yay, isn't this so interesting? Like, wow, like I can't wait to see, like, what if next week they hug? Woo, So anyways, I think that's about it before we get to Seth and Roman. Roman comes out and wait, let me just double check. Yeah, okay. So Roman comes out, acknowledge me, and then we have Seth come out. They talk, like they do the contract signing real quick, and then Seth goes to leave and Roman's like, where are you going? Come back in here. Is that it? Seth says he got something to say, and Roman's like, man, you're always going to be number 2. You're always going to be number 2. Your work daddy is pretty much giving you everything. Try to replicate everything that I've done and give it to you, like alluding that the Vision are like the bloodline to him, and that Triple H gave him everything. And he's like, man, you got the money in the bank and you still had to fake an injury just to win. And Seth is like, that all you got? Like, I realize I'll never draw as much money as you, but I'm okay with that. And so, I don't know, it felt like he was kind of clarifying last week's speech. I think I'm the only human on earth that actually liked Seth's promo last week, because every internet personality, even the positive ones, just trashed it. Nobody liked Seth Rollins' promo last week. And then even Roman made fun of it. He's like, you put everybody to sleep. I liked it. I actually liked it, but that's fine. It's okay for Roman to trash it, and it's okay for anybody to trash it. Just because I like something and everybody else doesn't, that's fine. Opinions, whatever, and vice versa, But yeah, so eventually it just breaks down into them fighting. Roman Reigns will end up being the one left on the mat. And like I said earlier, Seth is like, where's the bloodline? Where's the bloodline? And the bloodline don't show up. That didn't make any sense. At least say something. Like Roman could have last week or say something. When it comes to Seth, it's just me and him. That's all you got to say. Like earlier, at least they acknowledged why Obafemi wasn't arrested. I'm being for real here. I will give them props for acknowledging that. Just one simple statement. Because otherwise I'd be like, that's so dumb that the cops didn't arrest Obafemi. Now I can just be like, all right, yeah, they still need to find Paul Heyman, but at least it's not like a crime, All right, boys, all right, girls. Like I said, I don't know what to rank this. Like, it didn't bore me. And the matches were fine, but at the end of the day, the inconsistent storytelling does really irk me. It probably irks me more than most YouTubers. So I'm just going to give it a 6. I'm going to give it a 6 because they need to follow the rules that they have set for themselves within their own universe. All right, boys. All right, girls. See you, bye.